Walter's Happy Hour runs Monday through Friday from 4 to 7 p.m. The $5 Happy Hour menu includes the Meatball Trio and select draft beers.
Now the pitch. Swinging a fly ball right field deep. Call going back to the warning track. He's at the wall, and it's gone. Evan Carter with a 2-run homer against the Rangers on the board first here in the top of inning number 2 at Nationals Park.
Here's the set for Webb in the 2-0. Bell grounds one right side toward the hole. Simeon has it. Throws to second for one. The throw to first. Not in time. The game is tied. Rosario scores. It's 2-2. Bell hustles it out. A slow ground ball toward the hole. Rangers had to make 2 long throws, and they couldn't quite turn it. So Bell's hustle brings in the tying run.
Henry delivers. Swing and a fly ball deep left center field. Wood going back, way back to the warning track to the bullpen fence, and it's gone. A home run. Jake Berger with his 9th home run of the year. He has a 3-hit game. And the Rangers now lead by 2. It's Texas 4 and Washington 2.
And welcome to Nats Chat along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who is at Nationals Park. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. Sunday marked 15 years to the day of Steven Strasburg's unforgettable MLB regular season debut for the Nats. Unfortunately, the Nats offense lately is making just about every opposing pitcher look like Strasburg on that night of June 8th, 2010. Sunday, a 4-2 loss to the Texas Rangers at Nationals Park to lose 2 out of 3 games in the series. This was a game for which the start was delayed for 1 hour and 40 minutes due to rain. The Nats in this regular season now are 30 and 35, and the Nats, since scoring at least 9 runs in each of 4 consecutive games, have totaled a mere 11 runs over 7 games. However, is a major move coming. The Nats on Sunday night announced having optioned infielder/outfielder Nasim Nuñez to AAA Rochester, prompting all kinds of speculation that the corresponding roster move will be the Nats promoting their top position playing prospect, third baseman Brady House from AAA Rochester. Are the Nats making a house call? This installment of Nats Chat brought to us by the DC Grays, part of the Cal Ripken Summer Collegiate Baseball League. The Grays are playing their games this season at Woodbridge High School in Northern Virginia. To donate and learn more about the Grays, visit dcgrays.com. The Nats have an off day on Monday. This is their last scheduled off day before a stretch of 16 consecutive days each with a game. That stretch will begin with a 3-game series at the National League leading New York Mets, who have outstanding pitching. Mark, the Nats have a lot to be thinking about with their offense right now.
Yeah, look, they've got to do something different, whatever that is, because what we've seen here over the last week really was not good enough. And yeah, they faced a handful of some pretty good pitchers. The Cubs have good pitching, of course, Jacob deGrom on Saturday. But when you go a full week without scoring more than 3 runs in any individual game, and they only did that once, everything else was 2 runs or less, it's kind of a minor miracle they won 2 games on this homestand. They only did it because both games were by the score of 2-0. That's not going to work in the long run. So they do need to do something. It looks like they are doing something and will be doing something before Tuesday's game. Whether that's a huge move or maybe a lesser move just to kind of supplement what they have, we'll see. I did sense from Davey Martinez after this one a little bit of acknowledgement of you can't just keep trotting the same thing out there and expecting different results. They can preach the message all they want to them, but at some point, if things aren't working, you got to look at some other options, whatever they may be.
So let's just, dive into this head first. We're taping this in the Sunday evening hour of 7 p.m., so things may change by the time you are hearing this. But as of now, all we know is that the Nats have announced having optioned Nasim Nuñez to AAA. Should we think that the corresponding roster move will be Brady House?
Well, all right. We're about a half hour removed as we tape this from them announcing the Nuñez move, and they did not make a corresponding move, or at least not announce it. And they have Monday off, so they don't have to do anything here in the immediate. So let's look at a couple different factors at all this. Brady House has played quite well throughout the season, but especially of late. He's been very good and hitting for power, playing good defense at third base and everything. All the signs there point to him being fairly close to ready. Overall, he's hitting .299, slugging .521 in 59 games, and he's got a bunch of home runs of late. He also did not play on Sunday for Rochester. A little bit curious, maybe the kind of thing you would do if you were planning to call him up so nothing would go wrong on Sunday, I suppose that's possible. Now, having said that, the Nationals traditionally do not have their top players debut on the road. If you're going to do that, you're going to do it in New York at Citi Field against one of the best pitching teams in baseball, when all you have to do is wait 3 more days until the team comes back home and opens a 7-game homestand Friday against the Marlins and Rockies. If you want to put your best young players in the best possible position to have success from the get-go, that would seem to be a much better place to do it at home against the Marlins at the start of a 7-game homestand against the 2 of the worst teams in the league, as opposed to a road series against one of the best teams in the league. So doesn't mean they couldn't still choose to do that, but it would be a pretty bold move on their part when waiting just a few more days would maybe alleviate that. So the other option, and I think this one makes some sense as well, regardless of anything involving Brady House, would be Andres Chaparro, who is finally healthy after hurting his oblique muscle late in spring training. He's been playing off the IL at AAA and doing a good job there as well. He's hitting .294, on base percentage of .400 and slugging .588. So that's a right-handed bat who was probably going to make the team coming out of spring training, if not for the injury. So that's a move I could absolutely see them making, regardless of anything else going on, as a right-handed bat who can help you out, whether that's taking at-bats away from Josh Bell or even taking some at-bats away from Nathaniel Lowe, who had been struggling but did have a nice game on Sunday. So I think a Chaparro move would make sense. Not as big a deal, of course, as a Brady House move, but a move that I think that would help them to some extent. I think one way or the other, we're going to see both those guys here before too long. I think it's just a question with House of whether they want to throw him to the Wolves in New York on Tuesday or wait a little bit longer and have him make his debut at home.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters whether they call up House for the Mets series or for the homestand. I mean, if you really believe in the player, I don't know that there's that big of a difference between calling him up now as opposed to just a few days from now. And if you are trying to win this season, then you should be putting forward your best foot in each game. And summoning House would be part of that at this point. So I don't know. These prospects in recent years, let's be honest, they have not impacted attendance. Okay, James Wood last season did not impact attendance. We talked about that. Brady House, we're all excited about. He's not James Wood in terms of how he's viewed. So if Wood didn't impact attendance last season, then House is not going to be impacting attendance this season. So to me, you're just trying to do what's best for the ball club. And right now, in theory, what would be best for the ball club would be promoting Brady House. There are going to be a lot of disappointed people if the corresponding roster move to this Nasim Nuñez demotion is Andres Chaparro, because A, House has been going well. B, when the Nats do something like this where they announce one half of 2 moves, that always leads to rampant speculation about what the other half will be. And then C, like you said, House didn't play on Sunday. And that immediately prompted speculation even before Nasim Nuñez got demoted. So I hope the Nats are prepared for some backlash if, in fact, the corresponding roster move is Andres Chaparro and not Brady House.
Well, maybe so. But as I said, take House out of the equation. I think there's a very valid reason to call up Chaparro regardless. And that could be for somebody else, whatever. But I think he would be more productive for them right now offensively than a few of the players they have coming off their bench and maybe even some of the guys who are in the lineup on a regular basis. So I think there's that. And, I agree with you that there's not going to be a Strasburg bump or excitement in attendance if you wait to have House make his debut at home. That said, yes, about attendance, but I think it's also just about being able to hype something up, whether that translates into tickets sold or just creating a scene and a memory for him and for the organization that always looks better when it's at home than on the road. Now, doesn't mean they can't do it. Famously, Bryce Harper made his major league debut at Dodger Stadium because they needed him. Now, that was a team that was trying to win. It had a bunch of injuries, and they decided, let's go ahead and make that move. It's a little different situation right now. But if you are looking for a real injection of offense from a lineup who needs it against a team that's really good in the Mets, Brady House has the potential to make a much bigger difference than Andres Chaparro does, for sure.
DC Grays Baseball is an all-volunteer nonprofit that brings baseball and softball to kids in under-resourced neighborhoods of DC. Inspired by the great Grays team of the Negro Leagues, who played many championship seasons in Washington with stars like Josh Gibson and Buck Leonard, the DC Grays have developed their MVP program. It gives boys and girls in underserved parts of DC the same opportunity to pursue their baseball and softball dreams as do kids from more affluent parts of the DMV. The Grays provide expert coaching, uniforms, equipment, and tournament travel free of charge. A donation of $100 will help a child in DC to participate in the Grays MVP program. The Grays also field a team in the Cal Ripken Summer Collegiate Baseball League. Their 2025 season is now underway. Their next home game is tonight at 7 o'clock against the Bethesda Big Train. Game is at Woodbridge High School in Northern Virginia. To donate and learn more about the Grays, go to dcgrays.com.
Hey Nats fans, after the exciting Nats game, have a listen to some relaxing solo piano music to unwind and help you go to sleep. I'm Tim Newmark, the composer of the Nats Chat theme song, and you can find my latest music on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, and anywhere you stream music. The song you're hearing now is called Improv in A-flat major, The End of the Road.
Tim Shover's here to tell you about Babbel. Did you know that the Nats are on the Spanish radio airwaves for the second consecutive season?
Luis García Jr. por Lips con un batazo altísimo. Atrás el dinero. La bola se va, se va, se va. Se fue la fruta. Home run.
If you want to know what Luciano and Gustavo are saying on the broadcast on calls such as this one, then check out Babbel. And here's their special offer for Nats Chat listeners. 60% off subscriptions at babbel.com/natschat. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/natschat. That's spelled BABBEL.com/natschat. Babbel.com/natschat. Rules and restrictions may apply.
All right, fellas, I need you to stop what you're doing and go download Prize Picks if you haven't already. Because once you download Prize Picks and use code BACKYARD, you get $50 on us once you place the first $5 lineup. And in that lineup, the reason I love it so much, because all you have to do is place more or less on whatever player you want to rock with that night. And you can do it for as many players or as little players as you like. And it doesn't matter if I'm watching basketball, hockey, golf, baseball, esports, doesn't matter. I can put them all in my lineup. The reason I like firing on Prize Picks so much during the summer is because I travel all the time, and Prize Picks is available in more than 28 states, including California, which I love summers in California. So I can fire on Prize Picks with all my friends and swear out the games with them. And it doesn't matter what we're watching. We always get to enjoy the game a little bit more. And lastly, fellas, there's also a special going on during basketball playoffs. Every time you do a $5 3-pick basketball flex play during the playoffs, you automatically get entered in the Prize Picks sweepstakes for courtside tickets to the finals. So download the app today and use code BACKYARD to get $50 instantly after you play the first $5 lineup. That's code BACKYARD to get $50 instantly after you play the first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
With Lowe leading off second, 2 out, bottom of the ninth. 4-2, Texas in front. Garcia sets, and he delivers, and a swing and a miss struck him out with an elevated fastball, and the game is over. Robert Garcia, with his 4th save of the year, secures the victory against his former teammates. And the Rangers take the series from the Nationals 2-1.
Well, the Nats right now need all of the injections the team can get when it comes to the offense. Sunday, in this 4-2 loss to the Rangers, just 2 runs, just 6 hits, just 2 walks, 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. The 6 hits were a homer, a double, and 4 singles. 3 of the 6 hits did come from the former Ranger, Nathaniel Lowe. Good to see him have a good offensive game. He is an starting first baseman and cleanup batter, went 3 for 4 with a double and 2 singles. He did commit a missed catch error in the Rangers' 1-run 5th. The Nats' homer on Sunday was by Alex Call, who homered for a second time in 3 games. Call on Sunday as the Nats' starting right fielder and number 1 batter, 2 for 4 with a solo homer and a single. He had a Nats 2-run 4th, had a leadoff homer to left field to cut the Nats deficit to 2-1. But I tell you, what stood out as much as anything with the Nats offense on Sunday was who didn't play as opposed to who did play. No C.J. Abrams in the starting lineup. No Keibert Ruiz in the starting lineup. Abrams was the Nats starting shortstop and number one batter each of the first two games in this series. He, over those two games, went a combined 0 for 8 with no walks. He, on Sunday, did not start, was used as a pinch hitter, had a leadoff flyout in the bottom of the 8th. We, on the last installment of the podcast, talked about Abrams' recent struggles. Just to put some numbers behind those struggles, Abrams, for this regular season, as of games through May 18th, had an OPS of 942. His OPS now is down to 783, a 159-point decrease in his OPS in less than a month. So, in theory, doesn't start Sunday, off day on Monday, get some rest, hopefully good to go come the big 3-game set at the Mets. What actually grabbed me more than the Abrams thing was Keibert Ruiz, who started just one of the 3 games in this series and in fact only played in one of the 3 games in this series. Notable not just because he's the Nats' number one catcher, but because he catches so often. He plays so often. How significant to you is the struggling Keibert Ruiz only starting and playing in one of the 3 games in this series?
It was unconventional from the way they would normally do this, unless he was dealing with an injury, which I don't believe that he was. Now, the one caveat would be that the Rangers did start left-handers in both those games, Patrick Corbin on Friday. And then even though it was a bullpen game, you still had Jacob Latz going into the 4th inning on Sunday. So Riley Adams often starts against a lefty anyways. So that may have had a little bit of something to do with it. But I asked Davey Martinez about both guys before the game, and you heard him point out their flaws of what they've been doing and about how it's got to change.
We got to take our walks, or we're going to have the same result, really. I mean, as a collective group, the home runs will come. You can't force them.
In C.J. Abrams' case, this is his first off day since he came off the IL a long time ago. So he certainly earned one even if he was playing well. But he has not been playing well here of late. In Abrams' case, a lot of swings, a lot of quick swings, and chasing pitches up in the zone. He's better when he goes down waist high and down to the knees is his better target zone as a hitter. Ruiz, as we know, swings at everything, especially down. And Davey even pointed out, like really specifically, his chase percentage numbers, not just overall, but in a specific location. He said, and I don't have the exact number if it's accurate or not, but he's saying that Ruiz is chasing pitches down and in 80% of the time. That's just awful. Cannot happen.
I sound like a broken record, but the chase, looked at some of the stuff today. He's chasing 80% of the balls down and in, and the balls. I mean, we got to get him in the zone.
You're talking breaking balls that sometimes look like they're going to hit him, and he swings at it. And Martinez was pretty forthcoming about that and saying that that needs to change, that needs to get better. Both these guys are important to the team. Abrams, of course, more important. We've said all along, it feels like when he goes, the team goes. But this is critical juncture for Keibert Ruiz. One of these days, he's got to live up to what the contract is. One of these days, he's got to establish that, yes, he is the long-term answer at catcher. And after starting off the year very strong, his numbers now are not all that different than they were a year ago. And that's troubling because, as we know, he did not have a good offensive year last year.
No, he did not. Keibert Ruiz's wins above replacement per Baseball Reference for this regular season as of games through Saturday, 0.1. He has struggled offensively. He has struggled defensively. And this is his 5th season with the Nats. I know he didn't necessarily play in a ton of games for him off being acquired via trade in 2021, but the sample size keeps growing. And I think the concern I know I have, and I'm guessing a lot of people listening have, is this a young player struggling to develop? Or is this just who he is? Davey Martinez, during his post-game press conference on Sunday evening, talked about the offensive struggles and brought up the fact that the Nats are young, and that is true. But the concern I think a lot of people have is, well, is this team struggling offensively because this team is young? Or is this team struggling offensively because these guys just aren't that good? And there's a difference there. With Keibert Ruiz, are we waiting for something that is never going to happen, which is him blossoming into a true offensive force as a catcher?
And I think the part that worries you in that regard, yes, hitters improve over time and with experience. But one of the hardest things to get a guy to do at any age along the way is to have better plate discipline. You can improve in that regard, but the improvement that would be needed from Ruiz and Luis Garcia Jr. as well, because that's always been his issue, although he has found a way to still have some production, even swinging at pitches out of the zone. I feel like Ruiz has much less of that. Are you going to get a guy who chases, 40+% of the time out of the zone to cut that down all the way down to league average? That's a lot to ask of someone at any age. It's just not the kind of thing a lot of hitters are able to do. You can work on things, you can make better contact, but swing decisions and plate discipline is maybe the hardest thing to get guys to improve over the course of their career. And the part about it that frustrates me, and I'm sure frustrates a lot of others as well, is that you're talking about in Keibert Ruiz, a catcher, a guy who spends his life sitting behind the plate, calling pitches and reading the flight movement and spin of pitches from his own guys and knowing where to expect them to land. And yet you move him a couple of feet over into the batter's box and all of a sudden he can't identify that. That to me is kind of a confounding thing that doesn't add up why that would be the case. Obviously it's not as easy as I'm making it sound, but yeah, he is at a critical juncture and the strides that he needs to take are not the easiest things to do no matter how long you've been in the league.
And you wonder, with each passing day and with each passing poor game by Keibert Ruiz, what that means for the Nats internally when it comes to how they are viewing that catcher position. One of the Nats' top position-playing prospects is a catcher, Caleb Lombavita. He, per MLB Pipeline, is the Nats' number 8 overall prospect. Now, he's only at the high A level. He's playing for the Wilmington Blue Rocks right now, so we're still probably a few years away from Lombavita being major league ready. Has an OPS of 734 for Wilmington, so, we'll see how he progresses, but it's not like the Nats don't have another option at catcher, albeit that option is, fairly deep in the minors at this point. So it's funny, we talked about Brady House earlier in the show. Coming into the show, in preparation for the show, there was another guy for AAA Rochester who we were set to talk about quite a bit on this installment of the podcast, given events of Sunday, and that is starting pitcher Cade Cavalli. So the Nats starting pitcher in this 4-2 loss to the Rangers on Sunday was Trevor Williams. So Trevor Williams had another at best so-so outing. 3 runs, 2 earned in 4 1/3 innings. He gave up 6 hits, which were a homer, 3 doubles, and 2 singles. Issued no walks, recorded just 2 strikeouts. Did throw a lot of strikes, 81 pitches, 55 strikes, 26 balls. Top of the second, Williams gave up a 1-out, 2-run homer by Evan Carter to right center field for a 2-0 Rangers lead. So Trevor Williams now for this regular season, 13 starts, ERA of 5.91, whip of 1.44. And it was impossible to ignore as Williams was doing what he did on Sunday. Cade Cavalli did as he did on Sunday. Cavalli pitching for AAA Rochester, 5 scoreless innings, 4 strikeouts, no walks. This in a 5-4 loss at the Worcester Red Sox. Cavalli for Rochester this season has been a bit up and down, but the overall numbers now are settling into being good. 9 starts, ERA of 2.89, whip of 1.13. We've talked about Trevor Williams, his spot in the rotation, the Nats seemingly not being in a rush to move Williams out of the rotation. But given that Cavalli seems to be in a good place right now, how would you evaluate where we are at this point in time when it comes to Cavalli being promoted to the majors?
Well, all right, I'll say this. Over his last 5 starts now, Cavalli's got a 1.52 ERA, a whip below 1.1. And I think most importantly, 30 strikeouts and 6 walks in 23 2/3 innings. An excellent ratio, both in terms of how many guys he's striking out, but also how few that he's walking. And the velocity was good. He was 96, 97 in this game. I watched a little bit of it while we were sitting through the rain delay. I called it up online to see that and, looked pretty good. Now, the concern would be that they keep holding him to like 5 innings. And, he only threw 60-something pitches in this game. And I cannot imagine them calling him up if he hasn't already gotten to the 90-pitch mark in the minors. Now, they're doing this by design because they know that he's limited in how much they can get out of him this year in the long return from Tommy John surgery. And the whole idea has been whenever we call him up, he's up here to stay. We're not going to shut him down, anything like that. So there's that factor. And we also pointed out a week or two ago about the service time question, which I think is valid, as we pointed out that if you wait till I think it's sometime in early July, you can make sure that he doesn't have enough big league service time that you lose him in 3 years and you get an extra year at the tail end of it. So there's that valid answer as well. Here's what I think is interesting. If the concern is that Cavalli, if you called him up now, isn't ready to go deeper in games and you're holding him to 5 innings, the guy he'd be replacing isn't even completing 5 innings himself. Trevor Williams is averaging fewer than 5 innings per start right now. and the results are not great, an ERA approaching 6, et cetera, et cetera. And as we know, he's not the long-term solution there for them. So I think there's a valid argument to do that here relatively soon and potentially move Williams to the bullpen. Do I expect that to happen? I don't. Davey was asked straight up about Williams' spot in the rotation, and he said he's absolutely in the rotation. He said, hey, he gave up 2 runs today. Okay, be that as it may, that's nice to give up only 2 earned runs, but you know what? 2 earned runs in 4 1/3 is not anything great. You'd love to give up 2 runs in 6 innings as opposed to that. And we know that Cavalli is supposed to be a big part of the future here. So I think it's coming. I do think it's coming. I don't think it's coming yet for a variety of reasons. I think the key thing to look for is at what point do they extend Cavalli, let him go 6 innings, let him approach 85 to 90 pitches. Once they do that, I think all bets are off. I think we're now in crunch time where we could see him come up. Until then, I think they're just holding on here a little bit longer until they call him up.
The Nats faced Patrick Corbin in Game 1 of this series. Patrick Corbin had a season a few seasons ago in which he was so bad that he did not qualify for the Major League leaderboard, even though his numbers would have been the worst among starting pitchers. Trevor Williams for this regular season, that ERA of 5.91, that would be the worst among all qualified pitchers in the majors, but he does not qualify because he has pitched that little in terms of his outings. That's how bad Trevor Williams has been. You know, Davey can dress this up however he wants, man. The reality is what the reality is. And, you know, with Cade Cavalli, I wonder if you couldn't just have this continue at the major league level. This process that he's going through in the minors of building up his innings work, couldn't you just do that in the majors?
Well, that's my point, is that if the guy who in theory would be replacing isn't even giving you 5 innings himself, then what's the harm in having Cavalli give you those same 4 1/3 to 5 innings at the big league level? So, yeah, I don't think that's necessarily a valid argument for not making the move. I'm just telling you what they have said, which is essentially you don't want to call him up until they think he's ready to go, you know, the full 90 pitches and that sort of thing, et cetera. You could even concoct a scenario where the days that Cavalli starts, you have Trevor Williams ready to back him up at the first sign of trouble or whenever the pitch count gets to be too high. And there you go. You piggyback that. We may get there. I just don't see it happening quite yet for a variety of reasons. But let's just say this. It's good that Cade Cavalli is forcing the issue. Okay. We wondered all along, number one, can he prove that he's healthy? But number two, can he actually pitch effectively? Because it's been so long. So I think that's an important step. It's not like, oh, here's this top prospect. Oh, he's finally healthy. Okay, well, we're just waiting for him to come up. But the results haven't been so great in the minors. The results have been very good. That to me is encouraging. It requires some more patience than I think most people want to have at this point. But I'd rather it be this case than a case of them saying, okay, hey, Cade Cavalli, we're waiting on you. When are you going to be ready? When are you going to be ready? No, he's forcing the issue. That to me is a good thing.
Hey, Al Galdi here for Window Nation. We're midway through the year, and for many people, that means summer vacation is coming up. Will your windows keep your home protected while you're away? Save yourself the headache of coming home to a potential break-in by replacing your windows today with Window Nation windows. Right now, when you buy 4 windows, you get 4 windows free, plus you get a free exterior door when you purchase a house full of windows. And on top of that, you won't have to put any money down, pay any interest, or deal with any monthly payments for 24 months. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast. In this economy, what Window Nation is offering right now is a great deal. Your electricity bill is another good indicator of how well your windows are working, especially with summer temperatures here to stay. Lucky for you, Window Nation offers top quality, energy efficient vinyl windows built to withstand the sun's heat and keep your home cool. And did I mention that Window Nation windows come with a lifetime warranty? Don't miss your chance to protect and upgrade your home with Window Nation windows. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows free now through June 30th. And remember, you won't pay a thing for 24 months. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90NATION or windownation.com. And tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast.
Life as a small business owner, everything is your problem and there aren't enough hours in the day. That's where LinkedIn Jobs, and by proxy Nats Chat, are here to help. For those crucial hires that you absolutely can't whiff on, turn to LinkedIn Jobs. Simply post your job and LinkedIn will take it from there, making sure it gets in front of the properly qualified candidates who are searching themselves. Find out why more than 2.5 million small business owners have turned to LinkedIn Jobs to grow their staff. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/natschat. That's linkedin.com/natschat to post your jobs for free. linkedin.com/natschat. Terms and conditions apply.
Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. A changeup. Down goes Haggerty, who slams his helmet down. Ferrer comes in, gets back-to-back strikeouts to leave the bases loaded. Keep this a one-run game. Big job there for Jose A. Ferrer.
Well, the Nats bullpen in this 4-2 loss to the Rangers on Sunday. 4 Nats relievers combined to allow 1 run in 4 2/3 innings. And it was interesting, the Nats, with this off day on Monday, were aggressive in terms of bullpen usage in this game. Davey Martinez really did not hesitate to pull Trevor Williams from this game. Brad Lord was the first guy out of the pen. He faced 8 batters, got just 3 outs. He gave up 2 singles, issued 2 walks. So he did get victimized by the missed catch error by Nathaniel Lowe in the Rangers' 1-run fifth. Jose A. Ferrer was really good. He tossed 1 2/3 scoreless innings with 2 swinging strikeouts, which came with the bases loaded in the top of the 6th for the final 2 outs. Cole Henry struggled for a second consecutive game. He in the top of the 8th allowed a run, gave up a 1-out solo homer by Jake Berger to left center for a 4-2 Rangers lead, and Andrew Chafin tossed a scoreless top of the 9th. So Davey aggressively going to the bullpen. Was really good to see Jose A. Ferrer for a second time in 3 games in this series look really good. But the results ended up being mixed. And, I don't know how much it really even mattered with the Nats offense being as it is right now.
Yeah, it didn't matter a whole lot, obviously, because they were trailing the whole way. But I did like the aggressive usage there. He had Brad Lord warming when the 5th inning began, sensing that Williams could get into trouble and understanding that the bullpen was fresh and has a day off Monday, so go for broke. And he did that now. Lord got in some trouble. He gave up the inherited runner. That in part was because of an error. Nasim Nuñez, who's now back down in the minors, he made a strong throw, but he kind of pulled Nathaniel Lowe. I think he caught him off guard a little bit with the velocity on the throw and pulled him to the side of the base. I don't think Lowe was expecting. Now, Lowe got the air. He acknowledged it, hit him in the glove. He should have caught it. But it looked like he was handcuffed a little bit by that throw, and that's what ultimately led to the unearned run there. And then Ferrer, great job coming in with the bases loaded, back-to-back strikeouts to get out of a jam in the 6th, keep the game close as it was at that time, and then come back and pitch another inning as well. That's all very good stuff. And then unfortunately, Cole Henry, it was going to happen eventually. He finally gave up his first run since the final week of April. It was 15 1/3, I believe, scoreless innings from him. Now, he struggled the last couple times out, gave up some inherited runners one day, then departed with runners on base the other day. It's not hits, it's walks that usually gets him. In this case, it was a home run. Somebody finally got a hold of one off him. But, as high as he set the bar, we do have to understand he's a rookie learning how to pitch in relief for the first time. And so you may not always get that complete dominance from him.
So next up for the Nats, off the off day on Monday, is a 3-game series at the National League leading New York Mets. Game 1 Tuesday night at 7:10. The Nats ace, Mackenzie Gore, will be the Nats starting pitcher. Tuesday is McKenn's Day, at least in our minds. Game 2 Wednesday night at 7:10. Jake Irvin will be the Nats starting pitcher. Game 3 Thursday afternoon at 1:10. Michael Soroka will be the Nats starting pitcher. So this is going to be a fascinating series. A, Gore versus the mighty Mets on Tuesday night will be a ton of fun. B, the Mets are a great pitching team. We have the struggling Nats offense, but we know how sports tend to work. When you think a result is so obvious, the opposite of that result can be what ends up happening. So, let's see what the Nats do against the Mets' great pitching. And then C, just the overall notion of this series. The Mets are the elite team in the National League right now, 42-24. Run differential of +88, second best in the league behind the Chicago Cubs, +105. And the Mets have been especially good at home, 24-7 at home as compared to 18 and 17 on the road. So as the Nats are beginning this stretch of 16 consecutive days with games, this is a significant test, this 3-game series at the Mets.
So I was about to say that, the Nats, for whatever reason, I feel like they play better against better opponents, and they played pretty well on the road. It's an identical record, at least coming into Sunday. They were 15 and 17 both at home and on the road. Now they're 15 and 18 at home. But to be 2 games under 500 on the road for a team like this, that's pretty good. And as we said, they've done well against good teams. So maybe they do rise to the occasion. It would be great to see that. For whatever reason, they have, I think, played better against the better opposition. I like the fact that they've got their 3 best starters going in this series, Gore, Irvin, and Michael Soroka, who looked great last time out. I'd like to see him continue that and do it against a good Mets lineup. But this is going to boil down to, can they score some runs? Maybe they can win a game 2-0, 2-1, but one of these nights they've got to be able to score 4, 5, 6 runs and make that hold up and get just a decent pitching performance and win a game like that. So that's what I'm looking at. Can they find a way against the Mets pitching staff to do that? You need C.J. Abrams to be better. You need James Wood to have a big series. Look, it's hard to pick on the guy. He's been so good. He did cool off here a little bit at the end of the week. Did not have a great game on Sunday. I'm looking at those 2 in particular. And then we will see if there's an injection of life from somebody new who could help them, whether that is a top prospect like a Brady House or just a solid role player, good right-handed bat in the form of Andres Chaparro. I'll be very interested to see how that all works out.
Well, the lovely thing about the Nats is this. They have been so up and down offensively that as bad as things have been lately, you can realistically think to yourself that another offensive surge is right around the corner, right? Like there could be another stretch of games in which the Nats total a bunch of runs coming right ahead, because that's the way this offense has been this season. No rhyme or reason, just, from really hot to really cold. So perhaps this offense heating up is coming up. This installment of Nats Chat brought to us by the DC Grays, part of the Cal Ripken Summer Collegiate Baseball League. The Grays are playing their games this season at Woodbridge High School in Northern Virginia. To donate and learn more about the Grays, visit DCGrays.com. You tell us what you think. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email the show, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast.
Pitch to House, slow curve, launched high in the air to deep left. Back heads Fergus, he's to the fence, he climbs the wall, reaches up, and it's gone. House homers into the visitors' bullpen and left. 2-0 Red Wings.